Thank you, Emily, and hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this well session. And it's this morning, it's really around financial well-being. Financial well-being is about feeling secure and in control. It's about making the most of your money day to day and dealing with the unexpected and being on track for a healthy financial future. So really, in short, financially resilient, confident and empowered. And Money Helper, which sits on your Well app, is a government website, and it's uniquely placed to empower people of their choices and to improve their financial well-being. And it's not just for yourself, it's actually for your family and your wider family and friends as well. Money Helper also sits on the NI Direct website under Money and Benefits. So having Money Helper as your go-to will help you, I suppose, put in place the foundation for a concerted effort, to either retain or improve your financial well-being. And what it'll do, it'll help people navigate the cost of living pressures. And I'm going to show you some tools and articles on that this morning that you may feel could be of benefit to yourself. Money Helper, it's free. It offers impartial money and pension guidance, and it cuts through financial jargon and complexity, to help you build that knowledge and understanding up and hopefully reduce anxiety and all types of money matters. And really, it's really finding the way forward and taking great care at this moment in time when taking financial decisions. So how do you talk to us? Well, you talk to us live here. So if I go across here to the right hand side of the screen, halfway down the home screen here, you'll see a talk to us live button, and it'll break into pension guidance and money guidance. So, if we open up the money guidance, we've got 4 channels here that you can actually see, that you can converse with us. And you can do that, during your office hours. Money Helpers are recognised and endorsed product. Government to government, and really what we're doing here is you can communicate with us via the telephone. It's free of charge, and we're open Monday to Friday 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, please pass this telephone number on to your wider family and friends, or you can actually add this mobile number onto your mobile phone contacts. Money Helper will come up as the contact. Once you open up your WhatsApp, you'll get a text back from ourselves, and then you can converse with us, at whatever time of the day that works for you, and we'll communicate back to you during working hours. And again, you can do obviously the web chat and the online forum that you can have. You can have that conversation during obviously your working day as well, because that'll be during those opening hours as well. Your query is pension guidance. It's a different team. And pensions is something that it's a complex subject. It is a case of kind of like, you don't know what you don't know, and it sometimes you just want to kind of reach out there and ask a question, in terms of, for example, what will the living standard be for me now, the way the cost of living pressures is going? What will the living standard be like for me when I do retire? So for example, 3 years ago, the living standard was £40,000 per annum for a comfortable living standard. Prior to Christmas of just there past, I seen it go up to 49,000, and actually just the new figures coming in there just in January is 56,000. So it is a case, and that's for a comfortable living standard for a couple, and that would take in your workplace pension, obviously, and your state pension. But this is the type of things that we kind of need to be kind of thinking about, or it could be if you're a 20-something and you're starting to build your own financial well-being and you're adding into your pension. It is a case of thinking about your future self. So there's a lot of questions there that we want to be talking about, or it could be that you've worked with other employers, or it could be it could be a family member was thinking of taking out a personal pension, or an older relative, maybe it's something to do with pension credits. So there's a lot of questions that you can address with our pension credit team, and it's guidance that we give back, and it's a kind of one of those type of telephone calls, both for pensions and money guidance. It's a holistic communication that you have with us. So sometimes we come on the phone and we're asking a question, and really maybe it's not the question that we're really looking for. We have another question question. And, you know, that is a case of what we'll actually talk to you, and it's a holistic service that we do offer. And hopefully, you know, you'll find that you do get a good service. So, you know, call to action, maybe it's something that you want to be reaching out to us, you know, or passing that type of, you know, contact on to your family and friends. So that's how to talk to us live. If I bring you now into the blue header here, you can actually see here this, you know, these topics here cut across, I suppose, many life events. So we're going to pop in and visit some of them this morning. And really, you know, this for me is just giving you a tour of what is actually on here on the Money Helper. So we're going to stick with, you know, the cost of living. And I suppose for me, I'm going to really go across to everyday money, first of all. And you can see here the everyday money breaks into the 7 subtopics. And then within those subtopics, there's going to be articles. So we'll go in there in a wee second. And then on the right-hand side, you can see a list of tools. And for me, I suppose it's really a case of, you know, budgeting is one of the cornerstones to managing our money. And right now, a good budget plan you know, is the route to market, really. And it could be a case of, you know, that you have your, you know, budget in your head, you know, it's in your bank, or you could be, you know, have a fantastic Excel and you know exactly what's going out. I just want to show you this budget plan. I'm not going to go into the real detail. I want to just show you here what's actually on here, and how perhaps maybe this might be of interest to you. So first of all, you can actually create your budget plan on here and save. You know, you can actually save your own account on here with your personal email and your password, so you can go back in and visit again. And if you do, you would go back in and visit it here by accessing your saved budget plan. Really, what I want to do here now is just show you exactly here how this works. It's typical of your income and expenditure. But sometimes when you see budget plans, they leave, you know, all the blank spaces for you to fill out. And it's one of these budgets where, you know, if you're like me, you're thinking, right, I've got this, and this. And then, you know, a couple of months later, you're thinking, oh, I forgot about that. You know, so for example, you forgot about the boiler man, or you forgot about the school draw that's coming in, or it could be other things down the line that's, you know, coming board. This actually does the thinking for you. And it's really, really good. So, you know, if, you know, go in and have a nosy at it. It's incredible. It goes right down into your cups of coffee, your newspapers, everything. So it does the thinking for you. And it also nudges you, because then you get to number 2 here. It'll give you a breakdown of your budget once you add in all your figures, and it'll actually, you know, let you see where exactly, you know, your money's been spent. So you can see here under family and friends in the orange here, you know, if that was my budget, will I perhaps maybe need to go back in and look at that to see, you know, what I am actually spending on that particular page. And it might nudge me, you know, to actually think, oh, right, okay, I need to perhaps maybe make some sacrifices here, pull back in some of my spend. And then what it does then, obviously, then it pushes you forward then to, you know, working on your budget. And it's one of these budgets, because the way our groceries are going at the moment, we don't know from week to week how much your groceries are going to be, or how much, you know, our bills are going to be. This actually budget planner, once you put in the detail, it's so easy then, if you save it on here, that you can, you know, you can add, you know, change your figures accordingly. And then what it does then, number 3, is it gives you personalized tips. So for example, if I was on a deficit budget, it would be prompting me to perhaps maybe go back in and squeeze more out of my income. So go back into that wheel and see, is there anything there that I can do? Anything more that I can do? It'll actually maybe say to me, you know, are you getting enough money in terms of, are you entitled to benefits? So it'll nudge me into another section within Money Helper to actually look at. It could also be that I might need to talk to a debt specialist. And if that's the case, then it's also going to take me to another section within the Money Helper. So it's nudging me in the right direction to go. So, you know, it's a great foundation for me. And to be honest with you, I've done it. And, you know, I have taken, you know, right, I have to do this. And, you know, I procrastinated for long enough doing stuff, you know, so an example of that would be my Sky, my Netflix. I actually could not believe that you know, I had overpaid £250, you know, and if I had took action quicker, that so much more money that I actually could have had in my pocket. But actually, on top of that, there, you know, if you were listening to any stats, cost of living stats just recently, you know, 330 million is spent in subscriptions that we do not get the most out of, you know, every year within the UK. And it could be that, you know, like myself, you know, it could be that we could maybe squeeze more out of stuff, you know. And I was listening to BBC Radio Ulster there the other week there, and they were saying that a lot of the gym memberships, gyms are sustained on subscriptions that are never taken or availed of, you know, throughout the year. So again, you know, it's stuff that these type of things that we could perhaps maybe be, once you put it onto the budget plan, you'll actually start to see it come to life. So I'm just leaving that there for you, for your thoughts. I'm going to go back now into everyday money again. Sorry, a second here just to get in this way. I'm going to stick with the tools because I want to show you this compare bank accounts. And this actually helps me to look internally, and you know, is my bank, you know, is it competitive? Is it, you know, is the grass greener on the other side? So what I want to do here is start to compare the current bank accounts. This tool here is always updated on a daily basis. If you get a series of knots, which I'll show you if it comes up, it just means that that bank hasn't updated their information for this particular day. So I'm just going to go back up here again because I want to show you how this works. So you can see here there's 176 accounts on here, and that's a UK tool. And it could be that there are, you know, some banks. So for example, Danske Bank here has 2 accounts that are on here as an example of that. So what I want to do, as you can see here, it's up to date as per today's date. I'm just going to show you there because there's an example of unavailable information. So there's the Co-op hasn't provided us with their information as per today, albeit I'm just looking at that there, could be just because of this, it's a student account. So wipe that one off. If I see it, I'll show it to you in a wee second again. So I'm going to filter. So what I'm looking for is a standard account. I'm looking for a fee-free account. I'm looking to find out what their overdraft facilities are. I don't want any monthly fees. Walk-in branches, can perhaps get them on the high street now. So I'll go for post office banking, 7-day switching. I'm not really bothered about a checkbook, but I'm going to take a mobile app. And then I want to get all their information in terms of their general and debit information. And then I'm going to apply the filter. And what it's done here now, as you can see here, it's given me 27 accounts out of 176 based on my filter. So your filter could be different, you know, what you're looking for. So the best way for me to show you, you can see here Bank of Ireland is there. But what I might do is to show you in the A to Z for simplicity purposes, is show you AIB Classic account and Bank of Ireland account here side by side. And if you look at the overdrafts there, you know, 0 to maintain the account, but then you can see the difference then in terms of what they're offering based on my filter. And if you scroll on down, you can see their other figures are very similar. You know, there's maybe a couple of pounds difference there for you receiving money outside of the UK. And then it's 50p a difference in cancelling the check. So if I decide, you know, something quite fancy, AIB based on what they're giving to me on their overdraft. So let's go back and look at their overdrafts here. You know, I want to know a wee bit more about what their offer is and why there's such a difference between Bank of Ireland and AIB. Then I can actually go down and I can see here, I can visit the provider's website. So I can go right into AIB, that particular account. And then again, I can do the same with Bank of Ireland. So you can scroll on down and you can then maybe take screenshots and look to see, you know, here's Danske Bank, you know, so you've got AIB, Bank of Ireland, Danske Bank. How do they compare? And I mentioned earlier about Danske Bank having 2 accounts on here. So again, you know, there's their second, and you can see the difference between their 2. So it just helps you to actually, you know, kind of go a wee bit deeper into, you know, the costs and the charges, and do that comparison by just keep scrolling to find out, the building societies and all the other banks that they're missing from that. So it's a good tool. It's a good tool to watch and see the changes. Be it day on day or whatever your need is, or just to kind of keep an eye on the markets to see what's happening. So that's the compare the bank accounts. So we've looked at the budget planner and we've looked at the compare bank accounts. So before I leave this section, I just kind of want to kind of look at the minute now on, credits and, credit scores, because, that's an important part of our cost of living. So I'm going to jump in here to credit and purchases. And this is our first looking at what's in, some of the subtopics. So you can see here a subtopic will break into a list of articles. So you can see here, obviously there's some areas I've been jumping in and out of, so they'll normally be red, and then when you start working with them, they'll turn the purple. So you can see here, that's what's in this. And for me, I suppose, really, there's lots of stuff in here on credit scores, but there's 3 articles, for example. And it's a great way to, you might already know your credit score. You could be a person that keeps a very tight eye on your credit score, or it could be a case of, right, I really need to get around to doing something like this. How do you go about it? And, you're quite, established in your financial well-being, but you maybe perhaps never done your credit score. And it is important to actually check it out. So these articles here are brilliant, because what it does here is, the guide will tell you, what's exactly in this article. And it could be that, right, okay, there's nothing of interest there. I'm just going to move on to the next article, and there'll be on the left-hand side, there'll be, connecting articles. So you could just jump in then to how to check your credit report, or how to improve your credit report, so you'll get something from that. So if I want to find out how a poor credit rating can affect me, I can just click and it'll take me to that section within the guide, or I can read and build my knowledge and understanding up and of that particular article. So this is going to tell me that a poor credit rating could affect my future self in terms of getting charged higher interest rate, given a smaller credit limit, or having my application declined. So really what I want to know is, right, okay, fair enough. And I could just continue to read onwards then after that, or I could jump right in, as mentioned there, to the other articles. So I'm going to go about now to how to check my credit report. So I'm jumping into that article, and then I'm just going to continue to scroll down to show you how, if you go into this article and you are interested in it, then we will take you then safely to other endorsed sites, so that you're safely moving in the right direction. So you can see here how to check your credit reports coming up here with Money Saving Expert, ClearScore, or Credit Karma. And then, I can then safely be taken onto that site, or I can continue to keep going on down, and build my knowledge up of a credit score. I mean, obviously it's advertised in the television, all the time. But what we're being encouraged to do right now is, yes, we might know our number, and thinking about our future selves in terms of borrowing. However, we also need to be very mindful that, with a lot of us actually online, and purchasing away online, that our identity could be taken. And there was a warning back last year on Your Behalf programme, where somebody's identity was taken in Northern Ireland here. And when they did a traceability on it, Experian was saying people need to go in and keep an eye on their credit score and report any irregularities, because this particular gentleman here, he got a speeding fine for driving a Mercedes car in London, and he said he doesn't have a Mercedes car and he's never been in London 18 years. And this, when they delved deeper into the situation, Experian was coming and saying, please look closer. You could be getting turned down for credit, and you're thinking, why? And it could be because there's something, on your credit report. So, a call to action could be something that, just maybe check in on it, or just go, apply for it. I know it's, excuse me, I'm halfway there to get mine. It's like getting, it's getting into Fort Knox sometimes trying to get it because you have so many blockages on the way, but it is something, perhaps if you haven't done it, that you maybe get on board with doing it. Sorry. The next, excuse me, the next article that I want to sticking with Everyday Money again. I just want to pop in here to the credit and the purchases side, and it is I suppose maybe now down to the cost of living, where the cost of living pressures are mounting, and there's statistical information coming through there last week from ourselves and from money.uk, where people, 1 in 4 people between 25 and 34 are relying on a credit card to pay their bills, with 18 to 24-year-olds averaging around £1,000 on their credit card. 65% more than the UK average, according to money.co.uk, if you're looking for that statistic. And then ourselves, Money and Pension Service, we found that 5% of 25 to 34-year-olds were likely to consider a credit union if they needed credit, with 10% of 25 to 34-year-olds thinking of payday lenders, and another 6% going for short-term credit. So we kind of want to kind of draw you in here on the articles that you can see here on borrowing basics. So for example, do you need to borrow money? It's a good article. And this is something that you can just pick up and just kind of read at your leisure, and it's going to then take you, take you into other areas. So if I scroll down here, it's, prompt, stopping me if I am needing to borrow money. It's making sure that, am I getting all my entitlements? Maybe perhaps I need to save on household bills. So it's kind of nudging me, maybe squeeze a wee bit more instead of, jumping to borrowing. So it's a good article, in terms of actually, nudging you. And then it's actually asking you to reach out to yourselves. And then it's the usual Financial Wellbeing Foundation, save before you spend, cash and savings and stuff like that there. So it's a good reminder, it's a nice read. But again, it's telling, it's prompting me here, that if I need to work out a repayment plan, click this and it'll take you to a different section within Money Helper, or deciding on the best type of credit, it's going to take me to that particular article, which I'll show you just in a couple of seconds. Again, on the left hand side here, it's thinking about, can you afford to borrow, and then working out the true cost of borrowing, which is a brilliant article. So these type of articles here are all about helping you to take greater care when making financial decisions, but also building, a good foundation of financial well-being. So here, what's the true cost of borrowing? So, I'm, kind of brought in to this article, and I want to know more about, what is APR? How do I work out APR? So this information here is going to take me right in to the detail and to be able to build up my knowledge and understanding up. Because again, these are things that we're not taught. We're not taught these things at school. We have to learn them, or be taught them, with our parents or siblings, but or learn the hard way. So this is a good articles here. So if this, for yourselves, you're looking at this here and you're thinking, not really interested in this, just think maybe perhaps it could be some of your siblings or some of your nieces and nephews, that perhaps maybe could avail of, good information like this, because this is not just for you, it's for your wider family and friends support. So that's the, with Everyday Money. I didn't mention that I would take you into the other article, which is, again, if you do need to borrow money, how to choose, sorry, where is it? Hold on, I might have to go back into the other one, sorry. It's in this section, sorry, it's in the credit and purchases, deciding on the best type of credit for me. So this is a brilliant article here. We talked earlier, about some of the information that we got in terms of 5% of 25 to 34-year-olds that do need to borrow money do consider credit unions, but 6% were using short-term credit. And this article here will actually help you to decide on the best credit option for you, so it's kind of one of these articles that you have to keep scrolling because it's one of those ones that keeps on giving, so it's laid out here, the reason you need to borrow, what you could consider based on what you need to borrow, and then the top tips. So it's a nice one here, as you can see here, I've existing debt, I want to pay it off as cheaply as possible. It's not actually telling me here how much debt, but it's assuming that you've got, it's quite, it's not quite small, but they're saying you maybe perhaps transfer or money transfer through the credit card for up to 18 months. But again, it's going to keep on giving me more and more information based on what my needs are. Again, you can see here, I want to borrow money between £100 and £1,000. It's asking me to consider a credit union. So, it's one of those ones that you can just, have a look at yourself in your own time. So that's the everyday money. And as you can see here, there's other, subtopics on that. And again, depending on where you are in your financial well-being level, you may want to, if you're well established, you may want to pass the lift on down to your children or your nieces and nephews or your siblings, that you can actually, there's articles in here that could perhaps support their financial well-being just now. What I want to do now is pop across to money troubles. I'm going to stick with the cost of living. And, you can see here in the tools, there's a debt advice locator. And if I pop in here, I just want to show you how good this, and hopefully it's up to date today because there's a bit of skew with it yesterday. So this will actually help me, if I do need to get some debt advice. And, it's stopping me here and it's telling me that a debt advisor will give me advice on better ways of managing my money. What I would say to you is think about that budget planner that we chatted about, at the very beginning. If you are moving and you feel that you would like to get support from a debt advisor, have your budget planner with you, because they will see things right away that perhaps that you don't see. But they'll check if you are entitled to any benefits or any benefits or entitlements that you could claim for, and they'll talk to you about better ways to deal with your debt and hopefully get you out of debt faster. And everything you talk to them about is confidential, so you can find a debt advisor. It's stopped me again, and it's telling me that they'll never judge me. They're dealing with this day and daily, and they'll always be helpful and happy to communicate with me. So I can actually scroll on down and I can look for online debt advice first of all. So if I choose Northern Ireland, it's going to come up with Pay Plan and Step Change. Now that's online, and I can get immediate personalized help, and I'll get it 24 hours a day. What we find is that a lot of money worries really don't kind of like sink in until the dark of the night sets in, and that's where the worries start. And it's good here that you actually have an online service that you can actually go forward to and get that personalized help from, based on that. If I want to pick up the telephone, I can actually do that by calling Advice NI, and they will triage my call out to all the community advices and Christians Against Poverty right across Northern Ireland. Or I can also talk to Pay Plan and Step Change as well. If I want to actually go deeper again, I can actually scroll down here. So if I take a postcode, so I'm looking at, say, Magherafelt, and I do a search. Now this is going to jump, so if you were using this, please scroll back down again. So if I search, it's actually then, I have to go right down again because you won't recognize any of those there. So I have to go back down here, and this is going to give me all the community advice offices where there are debt advisors that are qualified to actually give me debt advice. So I can see here, the Christians Against Poverty, CAP, in Mid-Ulster, in Magherafelt, and then you can see STEP in Magherafelt and Cookstown, and then I can go into Ballymena. or can go right into Antrim and Newton Abbey. So it's given me a great radius here, of where I can go, so it is a case of, you probably would stick to where your postcode is, but it is a case of you can, see from this list who is available, because you want to be comfortable with, who you are talking with, it is confidential, but you still want to have that trust and assurances from that point of view. So, this is the long list that's here in that sense, that you can actually, within that, Mid-Ulster area, that's the span of, debt advisors that I can reach out to. So that takes care of the debt advice locator, because that's going to pop up now in some of the other tools that I go into. So it is a case of it sits here on its own, and it's going to be prompting me as I move into this next section. So here I'm jumping across now to help with the cost of living, and this is new guides. Some of them are new guides, sorry, that we've just literally done over the last few weeks, or promoted, sorry, over the last few weeks. And you can see here the cost of living guides here breaks down into 8 areas. So I'll give you a second here. So you can see here, and it could again be something that you're maybe, from a home point of view, it could be somebody, I'm just looking at those bottom 2, help if you're self-employed, if you have a family member that meets that criteria. There's a lot of information in there. And again, for somebody perhaps that's been made redundant, a lot of support that's in there as well. So if we go back up here again, we can see here, there's good information. So I'm going to just jump right into here on the mortgage rates, because this is new. This is only just come through for January, in terms of good information and good prompts. So it's a guide, and what it's doing here, it's saying, if your fixed or discounted rate mortgage is ending, we know that 1.4 million people is, within the UK that this affects. So really, I'm looking now to find out what steps can I take in this case. So, it's given me, as you can see here, it's going to just keep prompting me what to do. Talk to my lender first. It's given me to, and it's given me some editorial here, what perhaps I can talk to them about. And then it's prompted me to look at the mortgage calculator again, which is in Money Helper. And then I can use the pink arrow here, and I can go across. And then it's saying to me here, compare new mortgage rates with other lenders. And then again, it's given me, editorial to follow. And then it's given me a link here in terms of getting mortgage advice. So if I click that, it's going to take me right in to that section within Money Helper. So if I go back out again, what to do to keep up with your mortgage payments, so, people will be in different, might want to use all of these, or they just might want to use 2 of these. So again, it is a case of what to do to keep up with your mortgage payments. It's following the same plan. It's giving me more information here, what to do. Just be wary of this pink arrow here disappears in behind the talk to us live. So as I move up and read the editorial, so again, it's giving me that, if you've missed a payment, it's thinking about, getting debt advice, and again, I can go back, sorry, and then look again at, it could be that, using equity in your home to cope with rising costs. And again, it's going to give me, the steps to follow. And it will take me back into that section, which I'll show you, once we move into the homes side, I'll show you there's more information on mortgages. But it's just to help people, to take the next steps as to what to do, and, to reach out for, and, link you in with other links within the Money Helper, so that you're following a set plan rather than, not knowing where to look within Money Helper. And then, finally, it's all to do with, if you were thinking of, if you're looking to buy your first home, because, life events, regardless of the cost of living, we all still continue to have our life events. It's getting me to keep saving as much as I can, and then, gives me that, information in terms of lifetime individual savings. And then it'll continue to give me more information, know how much you can borrow So it's given me the mortgage affordability tool. So it'll take me into that section of the website. So those are four guides, sorry, a guide on mortgages with four channels coming off that. So I'm going to go back in again to the cost of living guides. And this time I'm going to pick up on the bill prioritizer. And this is one that we kind of like started, last year. And it was based on trying to support people, to find a way forward. I can pay my bills now, but I need to find a way forward, in terms of what if type thing. So what it's doing here is actually saying to me, what are you worried about? So, I'm worried about my mortgage. I'm worried about my personal loans, my buy now, pay later, my mobile phone, my car finance, my credit cards, and my overdraft. And, you could look at that there and see other stuff, you're probably thinking, my God, you do need help, woman, here this morning, based on what I've clicked there. But what I'm doing is I'm just showing you, how it will happen in terms of it's going to prioritize these bills for me, but also give me information, so if I click here, it's then stopping me and saying, are you worried about these? And if you look closer at some of these, these are mandatory payments that you have to make. If I picked rates, my rates would be a priority bill before my mortgage, and in that sense. So I'll just show you how that would go in terms of that. If it depends on how the rates works in Northern Ireland, but that's what it would do in terms of priority. But also my energy bills. So I'm going off here now, and it's giving me, my rates is my first one. That information there I need to get up to date, but it's going to take me to the section within NI Direct where it will then prompt me to go off to other, to get more support. But my mortgage is, my priority. And what it said to me here is contact your lender. If you're looking to find a way forward and you're worried, contact your lender. And it's given me, again, editorial to follow. And then it's actually, giving me the link here of what to do, if I fall into arrears or have problems paying my mortgage. It's saying to me, perhaps you need to go back to your budget, the cornerstone, to look to squeeze out as much as you can on your budget. And then, it could be, depending on people's circumstances, their partner could have lost their job, or, there could be redundancy, or there could be sickness within the home. And it could be that there's insurance. So it's getting me to think. I never thought of that, in terms of this information. But it's back to, if I've missed a mortgage payment, it's right back there to the debt advice locator. And, it's getting me to reach out, not to leave that, sitting, because, there is a strong relationship between financial well-being and mental health well-being. And, our mental health is affected, when we worry about, this is a really important bill that I need to pay to keep the roof over my head. I need to talk to a debt specialist. And please remember, they don't judge you. They're dealing with this day and daily. They will be there to support you. So it is a case of reaching out right away. The next one is my energy bills. I need to keep the energy, but here is this is brilliant here, and this is where you'll share this more with your family and friends. It does talk about agreeing a plan and preparing for higher energy bills, but the extra government help is all on here. Now it will be on the NI Direct website as well, and we'll link to the NI Direct website, as you can see here, for Northern Ireland. But here it also talks about, if you're vulnerable, there's extra support as well. And living in Northern Ireland, there is the Northern Ireland Energy Advice, and I do know, I think, that you're actually going to be getting a session on the on that. But even go on and have a good look at that link there, because there's grants for boiler replacement, insulation, but there's also an oil buying club. And Northern Ireland Northern Ireland Housing Executive, regardless of you being a tenant, every household, in Northern Ireland can apply for this Northern Ireland Energy Advice. it's run by Northern Ireland Housing Executive, but they have an oil buying club, and they maintain, if you buy small, buy often, so anything between 200 litres and 400 litres. So that's small, obviously. They wouldn't come up the road for us for that, but they maintain that they can save 20, you could be saving 20 to 30 pound each on each occasion. So it is worth going in and actually clicking that link to actually, to get the, to apply to get the email, to get their information, because what you do is you send the email and they'll automatically communicate back with their oil prices for that particular period. So maybe pop in this, into that section there. So then you again, if I've missed my payments, if I can't afford, I need to reach out again to get that support, that debt advice support, and it could be, again, you've wider family and friends that perhaps maybe could be entitled to benefits, that they aren't claiming. Again, my car finance, what to do, talk to your car finance provider, if you've got a personal contract purchase, agreement, but it's given me more information here, and God forbid, you would have to give back the car. There's a template here that you can use. So there's good information here, advising me and giving me, the support and help that I need if I find myself in that situation. But again, talk to a debt advisor each time it stops me. And then, again, the credit cards, and then the personal loan, and then you're going to find the buy now, pay later is one of the last ones. Buy now, pay later, it might be one of the last ones, but what I am going to say to you is your credit score could be affected if you miss a payment, so it is important, to maybe go into the Money Helper to read a wee bit more up on the buy now, pay later as well, in terms of, it is a good form of credit. It's an important tool when it comes to, to using credit, but, we have to be aware too of, the fees and the credit score that could be affected if you miss a payment. So that's the bill prioritizer. There's another great one in here in terms of living on a squeezed income, which perhaps maybe you could, again, pass on to your family and friends. And you can see here, I'm not going to go into it, but you can see here the 6 section that's within that, and it again breaks it all down and helps people to follow a plan, to read it and follow it, because sometimes you don't have the bandwidth to actually, you see all this information, but when you're actually following a set plan, it's easier to, navigate your way through this particular section. And again, talk to your creditor if you need some support. So I'm just going to open that up for you to see that. And again, you can see here, great section. These actually are brilliant, in terms of following, the plan and the layout here in terms of, in a credit, in that sense. Okay, so I'm going to leave that section here, but you can see it here. It's under money troubles, and it's under the help for the cost of living. And then you can see here money troubles, then obviously the debt advice locator. Now, if you wanted to just immediately drop into the bill prioritizer, which we did about prioritizing the bills, and if you were really interested to find out more about that energy advice, that's a quicker route to get you in terms of jumping right in there. I'm going to take you in now to another topic here, and I'm going to go into family and care, and I'm just going to visit some of this here to give you a feel for what's in this topic. And as you can see here, we're going through different life events again, from becoming a parent, and that'll go into budgets, but it'll also get you to think of your pension, when you're off on maternity leave, and perhaps your future self, in terms of that. This here section here is great, not necessarily on the subject, but the detail is good within this. So you can see here, putting your affairs in order, writing a will, and you can see the detail that's in that. So for example, if I choose choosing the executor of a will, this again is something, depending on where you are on your financial well-being. It could be that, for example, myself here, I could be looking to think, right, okay, I'm at an age now that I actually need to be thinking of this type of stuff. So this is good information here to help build my knowledge and understanding up of a topic. Okay, you could be listening to people and they're giving you information, but sometimes it's nice to be able to build your own knowledge and understanding up of that, so that you are aware of it. So it's giving you, what does an executor do? Who can be an executor of a will, which is all great information, because like everything else, you're always wondering, unless you've met that in terms of dealing with it. Again, it's great information here. So just nicely build your knowledge and understanding up of that particular topic, if that's something that would be of interest to you. And then you can see here, there's the connecting topics here down the left hand side. If you choose that one, you can see here getting your financial affairs in order. So if I click in here, this is going to then talk to me about, as you can see here in the guide, dealing with your debts, reviewing your budget, make sure you claim everything you're entitled to, right through to writing a will. So you can see here it's kind of like nudging me on things that perhaps I need to be thinking about. Might be too much information too quickly, but you can back off and just do it at the level that's right for you. But again, it's great information. If you've older relatives and you're trying to kind of get things in order as well. Again, especially if you've carer duties in that sense. So I'm just going to go back in and show you again what's in that there, so that you've got death and benefit, and it just widens out to a massive level of articles here, and you can see what's all in there. So it's not the nicest of subjects, but unfortunately it's something it's always going to be coming to our front door at some stage of our lives. And then you've got the divorce and separation. Again, there's a lot of articles within this section here, and again, it's broken down the same way in terms of what's in the guide, but you can see here the depth of detail that's within this here section here, and it just, again, you've taken it all out as well. So just make you aware of what's in there. And then, of course, then under family and care, I'm just going to jump right into long-term care. Now, this long-term care will talk about, government funding. Once you go to this here information here, you'll find that it'll talk then, from a Northern Ireland perspective, it'll talk about the health trusts. So quite a good lot of good information. But the area that I like here within this here, especially if you have carer duties, is this bottom right hand side here, because you're dealing with the care side and the finance is linked onto that. But obviously there's there's challenges that come with the finances in terms of the support that you need. So it could be that it could be that you have to manage the money of someone you're caring for. It could be that there's another section within here of that person giving up their financial independence and how perhaps difficult that is. I'm talking to older people about the money. It's a great section here. And then, of course, then we've got, setting up a power of attorney in Northern Ireland. So, it is, there's great articles there. And of course, the articles then break in and they take you to other areas within the website to help, support the article that you're reading. In that as well, in this family and care, there's a brilliant one called Talk Money. And there's this connecting, if you were doing the long-term care, there's a great article here in terms of, having a conversation about money, because, it could be that as a carer, you're having a conversation, with your siblings about, money. And this is a brilliant one here in terms of how to have that conversation, because it is difficult. You're dealing with the caring, and there's money involved, and sometimes that can bring about a wee bit of breakdown in communication, and it helps you here to have that conversation. This is a fantastic one. And this kind of article here could be, it's not just for carers, it could be for, having that conversation with a partner, it could be, with your children, or, just means, it's getting that conversation starter. So it's a lot of transferable skill in that sense, having the tips, but having that conversation, being mindful of your emotions, not interrupting. So I suppose we all could benefit from, having a nosy at this particular article. And it actually helps, to deal with negative reactions as well. If this happens, try that. So I love that article there. I think it's I probably need to use it more than I do, but it's a nice article actually, to blend, in terms of the caring situation. There's another one on here, which is a connecting one, and it's talking to your partner about money. And it's down to that, the motivations, how to tackle different motivations about money. So for example, I'm a shoe fanatic, I'm constantly buying shoes. That's not my husband's motivation, in terms of he doesn't understand why I need so many shoes. And, but it does actually, it's a different attitudes and motivations about money. So it actually looks, at the kind of both sides. And right now, with the cost of living, it could be that's the type of conversations that we all need to be having, in that sense, with our children, our partners, and family and stuff like that, So they are very, very good articles, to have a look at. And then within that, talk money as well. There's lovely ones here on, talking to your children about money. And we, obviously MAPS did a lot of work, and we're coming out with more stuff on what's called Talk, Learn, Do. You'll probably heard of that project. And it's actually helping parents to be able to, talk to their children about money. So this is all to do with, teaching your children about money, and it's very age orientated, so it'll be all different levels. And right now, again, there was information come out on the cost of living about children. Some children, they're angry, because obviously they don't have the same lifestyle. So there is the mental health side coming through, and it could be a case of, talking to your children so they understand it. So you might find that there's good tips within this section. And again, how to talk to your grown-up children about money, which is also good as well. So that's a lovely talk money. It's a really nice subtopic within the family and care. And then if we go into homes, because I'm just mindful now we're coming up on the hour, if we go into homes here, I talked earlier, obviously there was that guide, on the mortgages, but if we get into buying a home, you'll actually see within this buying a home, the information here in terms of, if you're thinking of buying your first home, the amount of information that's in there, understanding mortgages, if you're just about ready to learn about your mortgages. But you can see here, again, if you're struggling with your mortgage, or you need to remortgage or switch mortgage, or again borrowing for later in life in terms of that. So there's a lot of information and detail in here, and there's obviously expand that out, there's more information in that, so you can actually see that there's a lot of detail there that you can get support on, if that's something that you would like. But again, always, if you can't see what you see, talk to us live, communicate with us and ask us, where would you get this? So feel free to, to reach out and do that, to get that help and support. So I'm kind of wrapping it up here now. You can see here, there's a couple of more topics here. There's the pensions and retirement. This is brilliant again. You can see here, it'd be anything from, auto enrollment to pension basics, right through to building your retirement pot, taking your pension and state pension, and of course dealing with any pension problems. So you could, depends on, your wider family again, helping them to understand what the pensions is about, right through to, building your pension pot, etc. So there's great information in there to help you, to build your knowledge and understand of a complex subject. But again, reach out to us, and talk to us, because it is nice to have that chat so that you can actually help to build that knowledge and understanding further. And then finally you have the savings. So this is just really gives you an idea of, how to save investment. It goes into the cryptocurrency, talks about, the pros and cons of that, and then obviously all the different types of savings that there are out there. And then finally, then the work. So you can see here, what it goes into there. So that is a very quick tour of the Money Helper. I hope you've found it beneficial. So I'm going to hand back now to Emily.